Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Three Tips here, and this is the experiment that we're doing, running the pure silver crystal back through the cell a second time. If you look up here, you'll notice that the amps have fallen way off. This thing's been in operation now for about 9 hours, I think, 8 hours. And here's what we've got for crystal growth going on down inside the cell right now. Looks good. But the problem is, now there we go. Just by lifting that up, now the amps have shot way back up to 3.6 amps flowing through the cell. And what's happening is there's a little bridge being formed in here. The crystal is light and fluffy, and so it doesn't fall down as it gets consumed. And it's just kind of being held up, suspended, if you will, and not making good contact with the electrolyte in the bottom of the basket. So what it's doing is chewing up the silver down in the bottom of this basket that's in contact with the electrolyte, and then it just kind of chews all that away, and then it leaves a hollow spot. And since this doesn't push down in there well, then it just kind of suspends, and there's no more silver making contact with the electrolyte in the bottom of our anode filter. About 18 hours into the experiment, and if you look down in here, you'll see the pure silver crystals forming up nicely down here. Let me show you the amps first before we get too far ahead. Amps have dropped way off, less than 1 amp. And I think what's happening, like I spoke in the previous segment, the crystal in here is forming a bridge. The bottom's getting dissolved away, and then it loses contact with the electrolyte in here. When I pick this up, it'll probably reestablish that contact as the silver moves down in the basket. Here's our pure silver crystal growth so far. This is about 18 hours. It's looking pretty good. Stir this up while I'm in here. And now that we've moved the silver crystal down, look up here and you see that the current flow has been reestablished. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and fill the anode basket with some more crystal from our batch over here. I mean, this silver is light and fluffy to begin with. It's not very heavy. Put our anode bar back up on top of here, and you can see the amps, almost 4 amps going through the cell now. This is about 23 hours into the operation of the silver cell, and if you look down in here, we've got some nice crystal growth going on. The solution is staying clear and colorless, as it should. And what little impurities are in this silver that we're feeding in will end up getting trapped in the anode filter here. When I came in, the silver level was full, like it is right now, and I hit it with this bamboo skewer, and it just collapsed. And the electrode bar fell down into the filter. When I hit that, the silver collapsed, reestablished the contact, and look what amps are now. It just jumped up to over 4 amps. But what we're going to do right now is I'm going to set the time-lapse camera up on our power supply, and I've got the clock set up over there next to it. We're going to see how long it'll go before that current flow starts dropping off. Here you can see the current flow stays up around 4.3, 4.4 amps for quite some time, and then it slowly begins to drop off as the silver gets dissolved in the bottom of that anode filter, and boom, all of a sudden, once it's gone. And then after that, it becomes very erratic, going up and down on the current flow. Here you can see the amps have dropped way off. It's been, about 4 hours since the last time I looked at this, after adding fresh silver crystal into the anode filter basket. Now what we're going to do is, here's the amps one more time. I'm just going to poke this with a bamboo skewer, and this should kind of collapse down in here now. See how it collapses? And the what's happening is the cavity that's been hogged out down in the bottom of this filter has been refilled now since I pushed this down. If you look up here at the amps now, bang, we got 4.5 amps going through the cell now. I'm going to go ahead and refill the anode basket now. Just pull the electrode bar out of the way. Put some more silver crystal in here. And now put the anode bar back on. Boom. There's our amps. It's really chewing this stuff up, but I have to poke it down in there to make it fall, because it's, like I said, it's kind of like real lightweight silver material in here. It is forming a bridge. So let's look down inside the cell now and see what kind of crystal growth we have going on after about 27 hours. Oh, look at that, man. That is most beautiful. Pure silver crystal, man. Look at that. Now, I had a batch of this in a previous video, and I sent a sample off to be analyzed via ICP analysis, and it came back greater than 5 nines fine. So I guess what we'll do is just keep on going with this. Keep feeding fresh crystal into the anode basket up here until we chew through all of the pure silver crystal we got over here, or until the pure silver crystal starts getting close to our anode basket down inside of our silver cell. We're at about the 42-hour mark here. You can see the amps have dropped way off. And what we'll do now is kind of tamp these silver crystals down. Watch what happens when I stick this rod in here. It'll just kind of collapse. And that's how much of the silver has been consumed out of there. We're going to go ahead and add some fresh silver to this. Let's see if we get this set right here. Now we'll add the anode bar back on here. And you'll be able to see up here that our amps have jumped way back up now. Now let's get down in here and give a look and see what we got going on inside the silver cell. Oh yeah, look at them crystals, man. They're looking good now. Starting to get some shape going on. Look at that, man. Beautiful high purity silver crystal. Notice how the electrolyte hasn't changed color to blue. That's because we're not running any copper through here like we would be if we were running the impure silver shot from my cement silver. Place this cover, because if you leave this on too long, or if you leave the cover off too long, you'll get a bunch of dirt down in the electrolyte. So we're going to put this back on here, and I'm going to tap this down. Let's get some light on this thing. It should just fall down. See how it caves in down there? And that's because of the electrolytic action is dissolving this silver up here, and it passes through the filter, goes through that electrolyte, and then plates out as high purity silver on the stainless steel cathode. Putting a pretty good dent in it. I think today is day 3 of operation. Let's see, we started it on Friday at 1:30, and today is Monday at about 8 a.m. So I just woke up. I don't have the mental fortitude to calculate the number of hours that we've been running here. I'm going to reinstall the anode bar. If you look up here, you see the amps have been restored to 4 amps. It was 1.0 amps when I came out this morning. I added some nitric acid and some heat to the rest of the silver that was in this jar. Got a little bit of silver left. I've allowed it to cool completely. So now what we're going to do is filter that silver nitrate solution and use it to replenish the electrolyte in the silver cell. Now, someone had asked about this. You'll notice it's got just an ever so slight tint of yellowish color to it. And that's probably a little bit of palladium that's in there. I noticed that the silver nitrate that's coming out of my 6-liter cell has this slight tint of palladium in it. Our filtered solution. Let's take this over now to our silver cell. I'm going to get down in here and see if we can detect the level. Oh yeah, you can tell if you look down in here that the level is low on electrolyte. And over here you got some silver crystal above the electrolyte level. So now we're going to add some electrolyte into the cell. Adjust this angle here a little bit. And that brings us back up to the original level that we started with. You can see the level of the electrolyte has been restored. What happens is, as the cell operates, it's very warm out here, and there's a little heat coming off the cell. The solution just kind of evaporates down as the cell operates. I'm up over 5 amps after adding that fresh electrolyte down here, and just wanted to show you the crystal growth is really Starting to perk up now. You can see in there, this is 75 hours into the operation of the silver cell. It's going through this silver very quickly. Try not to spill it like that. See this crystallized material on our anode filter basket. This is silver nitrate that's leached up out of the cell and is coating this thing. I'm at 87 hours. It's 4:30 a.m. on Tuesday, and we started this last Friday at 1:30 p.m. There's our voltage and amps down inside of here. The cell is very warm to the touch. Of course, the ambient temperature is warm. I'm gonna hit this with the bang. It's gone. Look at that, man. All that has been consumed in there. Let's put this back on before we look down inside. I'm gonna add some more crystal. This back on, and then you'll see the amps have jumped way up. All right, let's get down in here and see what we got. Oh yeah, look at that, man, look at that. Pure silver crystal, twice refined. Should be very close to 5/9 fine in here. See what it looks like in there. There we go. Wow, look at there's some nice looking formations down here. Looks like diamonds in there, man. It's just beautiful. It is Tuesday, July 22nd. We've had this thing running for about 100 hours now since we placed it in operation. Let's do this. Let's take our, let's tamp these down. Watch how this collapses and just goes down. Boom, boom, boom. That's how quickly this stuff is being chewed up by the cell. Very quickly. Pull this out. Let's look down in here and see what we got going on. Oh, look at that, man. Just look at that pure silver crystal in there. It is beautiful. 100 hours of operation here. We're getting kind of close to the anode filter now. So I'm going to have to be tamping these things down, keeping an eye on it. It's really going good. Very pleased with this. It's 4 hours ago. It's 4 p.m. right now. And we're going to load it back up with some more crystal. That's all we got left in our container here. So it's consuming it very quickly. can see our amps are now up over 5 amps. Wednesday morning, July 23rd. There's our amp flow, current flow through the silver cell. Let's look down here. This is gonna collapse, I guarantee you. Boom, look at that, man. This thing is just going right through this silver very quickly. There's not a bunch of impurities in this silver to cause the anode filter to become clogged up. So it's chewing through it very quickly. Let's see what we got down here in the silver cell. Oh, look at that. Look at that big bowl of pure silver crystal. It's important to keep this stuff knocked down at the bottom of the bowl here, because the last thing we need is for the pure silver crystal to come up and make contact with the anode basket. It'll burn a hole through it and then release any contamination that might be up there down into the silver cell and ruin our batch of silver. Thursday morning, 1:30 a.m. Here's the readings on the power supply. Let's look down in here and see how this is looking. Oh yeah, let's see what we got here. Oh, it looks awesome in there. It's just incredible looking. Pure silver crystal. That one right there, look at that one down there. They're starting to grow up, excuse me, towards the anode filter. So I'm knocking these things back. We're almost done here. All right, we don't have that much to go here. We're almost through this entire dish of silver. I should be able to finish this up by Friday, hopefully. And then here's our current flow after the recharging the anode filter with pure silver. We're at 148 hours into the operation of the silver cell, and we've pretty much got all this silver running here, down to my last little bit in this jar that we started out with. Put this last little bit in here, if I can get over here to do that. And that's it. That's the last bit of silver that we had in this pan. Get a look down inside the cell and see what we have going on in here. Oh, look at them shards, them long, beautiful silver crystals that we've got in there. Very nice. Stir this up. And we're going to let this run until this last bit of silver in this anode filter gets consumed, and then we're going to start taking the thing apart and harvest the pure silver crystal. It is 7:30 on Thursday evening, and if you look down into here, you'll see that the crystal has been consumed completely, and I can see liquid electrolyte down there. So we're going to pull our anode bar up out of here. We're going to kill the power supply. Here you can see the liquid down into the anode filter basket. If we let the anode electrode bar over here come in contact with that electrolyte, then it will dissolve our anode electrode bar. So now let's take this thing apart and get the anode electrode bar out of the way. Take this, put it away. Here you can see we did have a little bit of electrolytic action going on down here. This thing is wet, so it did get down into the electrolyte, but I think we got it out of there just in time so we can use it again. Let's take our cathode connection off of our power supply now. I'm going to remove the cover and the anode basket now. I'm just going to pick this up straight up like this and set it off to the side. Here's the pure silver crystal down in there. Now what we'll do now is set it up here. We're going to rinse it over and over with some distilled water until we get all that electrolyte rinsed off of there. What we'll do is save this water that we pour off of here because it'll have a little bit of silver in it. So I want to save this rinse water. And I'm just going to rinse it over and over with more distilled water until I get all that electrolyte rinsed off of there. Here I'm pouring off the third distilled water rinse, and I'm going to do 6 more using hot distilled water. And I got to say, I like this volume of silver to work with. I like operating the smaller cell as opposed to the 6-liter beast. This is way more comfortable. I'm going to use this pan to dry it off, and I've got the weight of the pan written right on the side. Let's take our silver over here. Look at that stuff, man. It's still wet, so it's not going to be as beautiful as it will be when we get it dried out. I'm going to add it to this pan right here. I got a little bit left in there. We'll set this aside and let it dry, add it later. Now we're going to put this up on some heat. Let this pan of silver dry out slowly. Now let's work with our anode filter here. This is silver nitrate that's crusted on our anode filter. Knock some of that off of there a little bit at a time. And what we'll do is place the filter in this container, get it out of the way. Deal with this later. I don't want to be spattering a bunch of silver nitrate around in here while I'm trying to dry my pure silver crystals. I added a little bit of water to soften this stuff up here, and now we're just gonna push it into the cell or into the silver jar. This is just silver nitrate, so I'm adding it into my silver jar, a little bit at a time. There's a few crystals that were clinging to the inside of the bowl, so I scrape those down and then rinse it down with distilled water and then add everything into my silver jar. I'm waiting for the pure silver crystal to dry out. What we're going to do is filter our electrolyte, and we're going to try to use it a second time Let's take this over to our silver cell. We're going to use the electrolyte a second time. I've already fitted the bowl with the cathode connection back here. So now we're going to pour the electrolyte into this clean bowl. Cover this up now. Piece of paper towel over here so nothing falls down in there. We're going to reestablish our cathode connection. The anode bar. I've got a freshly made anode basket. And what we'll do now is we're going to run some impure silver back through this one for this run. This is cement silver that I've melted into these pieces of shot here. This comes from my gold refining operations. It's about 98% silver and 2% copper. That's what gives it that real ugly look right there. That's the copper, the 2% copper. Don't take much copper to make it look ugly. Here we go. Let's move our anode bar out of the way. We're going to drop the anode basket right on in here. Let's see if we've got some contact. Some contact going on between the bottom of that basket. Yes, we do. Not much. See that? We're going to have to add some electrolyte. That electrolyte levels down by about a ½ inch. But this is good enough to get started. Put the electrode bar on here. Make sure our connection is tight up here. And it is. I'm going to cover this hole up as usual. Don't want no junk falling down in there. Now let's see what happens if we energize this power supply. Probably nothing, because there's just barely a little bit of silver connecting to the bottom of that anode filter. I was wrong. We got 2.8 amps, 2.9 amps going through the cell. I just placed this cell in operation. There's the current flow in the amps. And since this impure silver has copper in it, that electrolyte down in there is going to turn blue as the cell operates. There you can see we're already starting to form some crystals on the inside of our cathode bowl after just about that's maybe 10 minutes of operation. If you look at the bar, we need to square it level with the anode basket, and I don't want to bend it down here near the connection between the copper wire and the silver, so I'm going to go up here and bend it up here and get it squared up so that it sits in there flat. I started the cell at about 12:30, so it's been running for about 1 hour. We got almost 3.3 amps going through it. If you look down in here, this is what we got going on in here already. You can see it's already starting to take on a blue tint, and that's from the copper that's in the impure silver that we're adding into the anode basket. I think this is done. I'm going to kill the heat. And look at that stuff, man. It looks like snow. Dry all the way around now. Look at that, man. Beautiful, pure silver crystal. Let's see what we got here. We got 1366 on the pan. And let's see what we got here. Oh, it's too much. Too much. I'm going to have to put this into a separate container. I like to use a glass container with a tight fitting lid because this stuff will tarnish if it's left out and open to the air. Let's tear the scale to 0. Now we're going to add the pure silver in, get a weight on this stuff. Looks like we've got 1,658 grams of high purity silver. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot to add the silver that's in the bottom of the beaker that we got dried out. So we've got 1,677.5 grams of high purity silver. Measure out 200 grams of our pure silver crystal in this beaker. 211, that'll do. And with this is our remaining pure silver. I'm going to just go ahead and put the lid on this and seal it up. Here's our pure silver crystal, 211 grams. And I'm going to measure out about 100 milliliters of nitric acid here, about 100 milliliters. That's a little over, that's just fine. Now what I'll do is add some distilled water to about the 300 milliliter level. We're going to set this up on the heat over here. Start adding some nitric acid in here. We're going to dissolve this pure silver crystal and use it to augment the second run that we've got going over there of the impure silver. So I'm going to add a little bit of this nitric acid in here now. And this is kind of an experiment, if you will, to see if we get that yellow color out of the electrolyte now that we've run the pure silver crystal back through the silver cell a second time. I think we're done here. All the excess nitric has been driven off. If you look at this stuff, man, it is just absolutely crystal clear and colorless like water. And that's what we want to see. I was wondering if I was going to be able to get all the yellow color out of it. And I did by running it back through the silver cell a second time. You can tell by the color of that solution that this silver is going to be ultra high purity, probably very close to 5 nines fine pure silver crystal. It's been allowed to cool down. It's cool to the touch now. We're going to take it over and add some of this electrolyte to our silver cell. I'm going to pour this right on in. I don't think there's any need to filter it. There's nothing in it at all. You can see down inside the cell there that the solution, the electrolyte in there, has already turned a nice blue color. So now we're going to add some of this fresh electrolyte. And that's probably 100 grams of silver that I just added in there. I'll dissolve the rest of that and use it to replenish electrolyte as this cell progresses. Stir this up real good. You see the blue color forming in there from the copper. Man, it just looks superior, man. Look at that. What we're doing is running the impure silver through this cell, and this is going to have impurities in it, including copper and possibly some platinum group metals. And those impurities, the copper will dissolve and go through the filter and get down into the electrolyte, but anything like gold or platinum group metals will remain trapped in that filter, and then we can process those filters and recover those precious metals. This is the star of this video, this pure silver that's been twice refined through the silver cell. And I'm gonna call it 5/9 fine, man. Look at that stuff. It's just beautiful. I don't want to sell any of it with the price of silver so ridiculously undervalued. Price and value are two totally different things, and I believe that this silver is much more valuable than the current spot price. I will let some of it go, but I want $120 per ounce for my twice refined pure silver crystal. All right, that'll conclude the video. Thanks for watching.